In this video, we'll analyze 3 F1 visa interview conversations to see the part of their responses that convinced the visa officer to grant them the visa. My goal by the end of this video is that you start thinking like a visa officer. We'll see interviews of people that were approved in their third attempt just with loans and even without any funding. Starting with the most surprising one in interview number 1. And here's the profile. First attempt, school, University of Kentucky, course, Masters in Finance. Total cost of attendance $44,031. Scholarship $3,500. Student loan, yes. Status approved. Pending service payment. Embassy, Nairobi, Kenya. So here's what the interview transcript looks like. Now you can see I've italicized the parts that is said, which is not the interview, and then everything the VO said, the visa officer is bolded. So let's look at it together. My interview was at 10:30 a.m. I arrived at the embassy at 8:15 a.m. Nice. I went through the normal security checks and was ushered into the waiting bay. At 8:45 a.m. my passport was checked and a sticker put on the back. I was taken in where my biometrics were and then told to line up for the interview, which is usually what you see. Only counters numbers 3 and 4 were open, and all I saw were tense interviews and then people being ushered out. I got signaled to go to counter number 3 where a middle-aged lady VO was conducting the interview. So that's the setup. Me, good morning ma'am. The VO, good morning to you too. What are you going to study? And then me, I'm lucky to have been accepted at the University of Kentucky to pursue a Masters of Science degree in finance. And then the VO asked, when did you graduate? I graduated in December 2018 with a Bachelor of Commerce, Actuarial Science, second class honors from Kenyatta University. You can already see, let me just pause this here. You can already see the person responded with where they are going to and what they are going to study to this question of what are you going to study? They didn't just say I'm going to study finance. They said University of Kentucky. So the person is giving complete responses. You can even also see that here too as well when they graduate. Put the graduation day, put the degree, and then even the degree actually that they came out with, and then the university as well. So what do? I'm an insurance and financial analyst at ABC Company, where I help financial professional institutions with portfolio analysis and risk management recommendations. So immediately the person enters, how are you funding your study? So get into the funding. And then he says, thank you for asking. Nice. I have personal funds amounting to $40,000, a merit-based scholarship from the university owing to my strong academic background. You see, the scholarship was not even too much, but the person praised themselves here. You always have to do that. And an Empower loan financing to supplement my funds. So this is a very complete statement, a very complete response to the question of how are you funding your studies. Hi, Nzube the analyst. Now, $40,000 in savings is unbelievable because number one, he just graduated in 2018 and that's about 6 years ago. Now, what kind of work are you doing to have that kind of money saved up? Secondly, if he indeed has $40,000, then he doesn't need the Empower loan. So this is most likely a mistake that he made when writing. So he probably wanted to write $4,000, which is much more realistic than $40,000. I didn't initially notice this when recording the video, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. Enjoy the rest of the video. What's your projected income after graduation? I've been granted study leave by my organization, so I plan to assume higher managerial positions upon my return with a higher salary. So they've already said, I'm going to return back to Kenya upon my return. Chipping it in, very smart. I've also founded an investment company that will generate an income of $1,500 monthly, even when pursuing my study abroad. Really, really good. How many employees does your company have? And so the VO now continued in this trajectory of, okay, I have an investment company. And then he said 8. They will be in charge of management in my absence, and I'll assume full roles upon my return to Kenya. So you can see that this person is not just responding to the questions like with short responses. You could have said, how many employees do you have, does your company have, and then he'll say 8. Or what's your projected income, and then he will just mention the amount. He or she understands the reason why the visa officer is asking this question, and they are giving complete responses. It's really good. So the video says, put your right hand on the scanner, and then he does that. Have you paid service fee? And he said no. I'm awaiting the outcome of this interview to make the payment, which I can do immediately upon approval. This is the this is bold. And then the VA says, congratulations, I'm granting your visa pending service payment, and hands over a yellow sheet with service fee circled. So thank you very much, ma'am. And he says, by the time I arrived at the security desk to pick my phone and know the time, it was 9:36 a.m. I thank God for everything. So this was pretty quick. Came out by 9:36 and he entered like 8:45 a.m. So within 1 hour, the person's fate was already decided. Now I want us to analyze this transcript from the lens of a visa officer. And you too, as you are watching this, criticize the transcript actually. Do you feel convinced from the responses that these people are giving? This will also help you to prepare your own responses in a convincing way. So primarily, there are about 3 things that the visa officer is looking out for. Number 1, are you a student? Did you go through the whole student journey for you to find this school and then you now want to go and pursue the studies there? Number 2, will you return back after study? So do you have strong home ties here in your home country that will make you to come back when you're done? And number 3, finances. Can you afford the fee? Can you afford the education? Education in US is expensive, so can you afford it, or you're planning to come here to become a problem to the government? So we use those 3 things to analyze all the transcripts we'll be going through today. So first of all, strong ties. How did this person show that they have strong ties and they're going to return back to their country? You can see it here from this response of what's your projected income after graduation. Say, I've been granted study leave by my organization, so I plan to assume higher managerial positions upon my return with a higher salary. Higher salary is a good motivation for you to invest in a US education. He's going to go to a higher position and get a higher salary, so it makes sense for him to now plunge in this money to get this master's in finance. A second strong tie that this person has, which is very good, is that I've also founded an investment company. So will you leave your company that is already this profitable, generating this amount of revenue monthly? Will you leave this company to say you want to relocate to the US and you won't come back? This person was really able to show good, strong ties. Then secondly, a serious student. How did he or she show that they're a serious student? So you see, what do? I'm an insurance and financial analyst at the company where I help this, and he also has his own investment company. Now, these are all things that are related to a master's of degree in finance. He's not going for a master's in communication. They are not related. And finally, financials. Was this person able to show that they can fund their studies well? Yes. You can see personal funds that the person has saved up for a while, merit-based scholarship as well that they got, and then an Empower loan to supplement the studies. So this is showing that yes, I've got the financial aspect of my education covered. Now I want to mention something here that I believe is really important, and which is this aspect of service fee payment. I think it's something that is allowed in some countries of East Africa where you can come for the interview without paying service fee. But then in Nigeria, in a couple other countries, you can't do it. They won't even allow you to be interviewed on that day in the first place. So this is the transcript the person shared. This is the person's experience. They went without paying service fee, but please pay your service fee. It's actually a requirement in a lot of countries. So pay your service fee before going for your interview. Now, interview number 2, and here's the profile. It's the first attempt. The school, Stevens Institute of Technology. The course, Masters in Software Engineering. Total cost of attendance, $65,812. Scholarship, none, $0. Student loans, no. Status, approved. Embassy, Lagos, Nigeria. All right, so let's look at this interview together. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Let me have your documents. What are you going for? I'm going on a company-sponsored study leave for a master's degree program for an MSc in software engineering at Stevens Institute of Technology. I want to pause and applaud this response. This is a very strong way of responding and starting an interview. Like, this is a hook. It's a very strong response. Like, I'm going for a company sponsored. This is good. Study leave for a master's degree program. So it's already showing from here so many things that I will come back because it's my company that is sending me. I have enough finances to cover this degree because it's my company that is sponsoring. Like, it's really so good. Okay, let's go ahead. Who is sponsoring? My company XYZ is sponsoring with a sum of $50,000 while I'll be providing a balance of $10,000. What do you do and what does your company do? I work as a software engineer with XYZ company, while my company XYZ is into ABC and DHI. Interesting. How are you able to provide $10,000? When did you graduate and how much do you currently earn? Me, I graduated in 2000 and something and I've been working since then, while I currently earn 1 point something million monthly. This is the transcript that the person gave, hiding all the sensitive information, which is good. For the sake of this video, we would refer to this as 1.8 million naira, which is the same thing as $1,140. So let's bear that in mind. How many schools did you apply to and why did you choose this? I applied to 3 schools and I got admission from 2 of them. However, since Stevens Institute was highly recommended by former CTO in my previous place of work, XYZ in the UK. This is really good. This is showing a good student's journey. Have you traveled out of Nigeria before? Yes, on a work visit to XYZ country when I used to work for ABC company as a control engineer, and I spent so and so weeks. How much did you say you earn again per annum this time? I earn 1 point something million monthly. We're using 1.8 and 20 point something million annually. So if you are using 1.8 million monthly, that's about 21.6 million naira annually. And in dollars, this is about $1,140 monthly and $13,680 annually. Next question, why did your company choose to sponsor you for the course? We are currently 5 engineers with the company and I'm the only one that passed the Google and AWS certification exams, and that makes me the sole beneficiary of the scholarship, which I get to work as a staff engineer when I return. This is it here. This is it right here. Also, is a study leave that requires I sign an employment bond for so and so number of years, which means I have to work for the company for that period. And if I choose to resign, I will have to pay a 15% profit on the accumulated sum. There is so much information in this response, but we'll get to it when we are looking at the review. Are you married? Yes, I'm married with 2 kids. What does your wife do? My wife is a registered distributor with XYZ company. How much does your wife make in a year? We actually did her profit and loss a couple of weeks ago and she made a profit of in 10 milli. Now over here, I'm also going to just use 10 million naira, which is about $6,329. How much will you earn when you return from your master's? I'll be working as a staff engineer and that gives me the privilege to earn a double of my current salary. Thank you. Put your left forefinger on the machine. I would have to keep your passport and we'll send you an email and message via DHL when it's ready because your visa has been approved. Thank you and have a nice day. This person was really confident. Like, this guy was really confident. Overall, this is a solid transcript. Let's do some analysis together. So first of all, strong ties. How did this person show that they have strong ties? See the response. What are you going for? The person already laid a very solid foundation when starting this interview, going for a company-sponsored study leave for a master's degree program. The person could have said, I'm going for a master's in software engineering at Stevens Institute of Technology. But then, since the person is company-sponsored and also getting study leave, is a good thing to add it in. It strengthens the response and sets up the interview on a good foundation. So he set up good home ties here in the beginning and also in this response of why your company choose to sponsor you. Yeah, you can see which I get to work as a staff engineer when I return. The second thing, serious student. Is this person a serious student? Yes. How can we say? First, he's going for a master's in software engineering. Also, he's currently a software engineer and when he returns, he would work as a staff engineer. So there's a reason behind getting the degree. Currently working software engineer, I'm going to get this degree. My company is sponsoring me. Why are they sponsoring me? I'm going to come back and become a staff engineer. That's a strong one. Finally, let's look at the financials. How did he show that he could afford it? First of all, his response to who is sponsoring was good. My company is sponsoring the sum of this. I'm also providing this. Asked him, how are you able to provide 10K? And he explained, I've been working since so and so number of years and I earn this amount every month. Then in addition to this, he also knew what the cost is if he chooses to resign. So he says, I have to work for, because the employment bond is for so and so number of years and I have to work for the company for that period. So definitely I'm coming back. And if I choose to resign, I have to pay 50% profit of the sum. Now, in addition to all this, he knew how to explain that he won't be under financial pressure when he's studying here. And how? Are you married? Yes, I'm married with 2 kids. Your wife and children will be depending on you financially when you are studying. What's the plan? You don't have funding. Then he was asked, what does your wife do? He said so. How much does she make in a year? He knew the amount. So he was prepared. Very good. Very, very good. So he removed the concerns completely of him being under financial pressure from his family when he studied, because his wife, she's earning good money that can take care of his 2 kids. If you've been enjoying the video so far, then I want to invite you to smash the like button below. It helps the YouTube algorithm to know that this video is really helpful. And if it's your first time here, please consider hitting the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I drop videos that will help you transition and thrive in the US. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to interview number 3, and here's the profile. Attempt, 3rd attempt, total cost of attendance $40,000, scholarship, full funding. Nice. Student loan, no. Status approved. Embassy, Abuja, Nigeria. So let's look at this together. I had been denied visa before twice in Lagos. What changed now that I can see for myself is I had funding. But you know, I was still scared, definitely, because of the previous experiences. Yeah, after going through one denial self, it could be really traumatizing. But having to now go through 2, wow, yes, I really can relate with this fear that she's talking about. It was the Black American lady. So the previous 2 interviews were in Lagos, and then this one is in Abuja. This was a similar experience to mine. My first 3 denials were in Lagos, and then the 4th one, which was where I was approved, was in Abuja. Now, is it that they don't approve people in Lagos? They do. The second interview we saw was someone that was approved in Lagos. So let's just jump into the interview. Good morning, ma. Good morning. May I have your passport and I-20? And then he passed it. Okay, are you married? No, I'm not. Do you have kids? She looked up here. I shaked my head, not at all. Have you ever traveled outside the country? No, I've not had any reason to. I see your tuition and living expenses $40,000. How do you intend to pay for it? In my mind, can't you see I have funding? So his response was, I have a GA and tuition waiver from the department where I'll be supporting in undergraduate teaching and also be responsible for grading the assignments, tests, and examination. Okay. When did you graduate? I had my bachelor's degree in, put the course in school. I mean, when did you graduate? Oh, I'm sorry. I graduated from University of this in 2000 and this, where I had my bachelor's degree in this. He didn't just give the year, still gave University of this, the year, and then bachelor's in this. Why are you going for your PhD now? I prepared for this question, my God, but I didn't remember at this point. After a few seconds, I said, it will prepare me with the analytical methodology and research skills that I would need to take up the lecturing role at my alma mater University of that, which I will be taking after the successful completion of my PhD program. You can already see from this response here showing strong ties and plans to return back to the country. Definite plans. The person mentioned University of X or Y or Z that I'm planning to return back to after the PhD program. What work do you currently do? I currently work as a researcher with Dr. This in the department of this, University of this, where I assist in data gathering, data filtering, and conduct literature review in order to draw out insights from policies, trends, and trade dynamics. In fact, I'm currently reviewing literature on gender distribution of inequality. Very good. Okay, so what project will you be working on? I didn't get this question and didn't want to not talk. So I said I'll be taking up a role as lecturer after my program. I'll gain the necessary research skill that will prepare me ahead of my future commitments. She caught me. Looked at me and said, you didn't get me. You are a researcher, right? Yes, I am. So what project would you be working on? She said this slowly so I could hear her. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't prepare for this question, but got to control. My God, I remembered my final year project topic. Very good. Oh, I'll be working on the topic public spending on poverty reduction in Nigeria. I'll focus on health and education sector in order to determine if there's a link on whether increase in government expenditure on health and education will reduce poverty in the country. I didn't say this smoothly at all. Yes, and then the VO started typing, I'll be approving your visa, looked at me, smiled back. Thank you, ma. I was still waiting for my passport that I even asked for it. What of my passport? We were like, your passport? I'll have to approve it. You get it in the location. The person was not hearing again, said, I'm so sorry. That was very funny. It's okay, smiling at me like this guy is a novice. And then he puts a comment here, let all your answers always be the same with what is in your DS-160. This is why it's important to fill it yourself. This is so true. But let's review this together. Very interesting interview. Very, very interesting, honestly. Let's review this together. So how did this person show strong ties to return back to the home country, in which case this is Nigeria? You can see here from this response, why are you going for your PhD now? I plan to come back, take up the lecturing role at my alma mater, university of this, mention the name of the university. Didn't just stop at alma mater, which I'll be doing after completing my PhD program. And then it's not just I'll be at alma mater, but what you are currently doing is in line. You are working in department of this, university of this, is in line with a lecturing position. So it makes sense that you're going to actually take up this role when you return. Then how did he show that he's a serious student? Still in line with what we just said, working as a researcher, the plan to be a lecturer. So the person is already working in the university as a researcher, doing all these things that the person mentioned. Now they want to get a PhD, and a PhD is good for people that are in a lecturing position. So he's also showing that the person is a serious student. And then financials. Did he have his financials covered? Yes, fully covered. It was a full funding. So I have GA and tuition waiver, and the person even understood what they'll be doing, undergraduate teaching and then grading as well. So he came really prepared. In my experience, I've noticed that people that have had previous denials, having full funding is a very good way to show something that has changed. It's not the only way. When I was approved, I didn't have full funding, but I found that is a very good way. From interview 3, remember the last thing the person said, that let your responses be the same as what you filled in your DS-160. That's why it's important to fill it yourself. And it's very true. The visa officer will be looking through your DS-160 during the interview to confirm that the things that you are saying are actually in line with what you filled in your DS-160. To show you how to fill the DS-160 form step by step, you want to watch this video next, where I take your hand and we fill every page together. Remember, I'm rooting for you, and I'll see you soon.